And then when you are in another community, like say monocultural Black community in UK, oftentimes these communities want to preserve their culture, so they're also a bit rigid in that sense.
Yeah. I had that
So yeah,
rejection.
and so how I got to create the stories that I create is that I saw that there's a big gap, and there was definitely a space for the mixed perspective, and
Hmm.
Afropean was the only platform that I found. I like exact matches, you know.
Same
and,
here. I guess that's how Eastern European rigid upbringing,
yeah, so my Eastern European side kicked in, and I was like, yeah, I just wanna find something nobody can question, and no matter how much you try, because I have
Yeah,
concrete facts and evidence.
that's great.
So then I had an idea for this project. Like it was at a time when I already had some network built thanks to the meetups, and I met some other people who were like me, and I realized that a lot of people did the same thing like me. They
Hmm.
moved to London or to other
Yeah,
multicultural cities from these like all white
yeah,
environments. So I was like, how about I write about your experiences and how you went about it? So that's how the series for In Liminal Space came to be. And only now I realize that there's a huge need for it. Younger Afro-European people, they're not, feeling more included. They're feeling less included. They're not more confident. They're less confident than we were, I think.
really
I can,
mixed race, biracial
yeah,
people.
I think, well, you've seen it too. You remember that meetup that we mentioned with a
Yeah, but
mixed
I don't
race
have
meeting?
any reference. Like I can't compare to what it was before. Like because again, I was not
Yeah.
really looking for those mixed race experiences or circles. I mean, the people were
Mm,
there. Like I did have mixed race influences. One of them, my cousin, I had told you about, and then there were
yeah.
others as well. But really, I don't know.
But when you look at the younger generation in Poland, I don't know if you have some contact with them. I
No, not
had,
really.
you don't. But I know a few people who are younger than me and who are like Afro-Slovak, Afro-Czech, and even from my friend, she knows Afro-Czech community, and she says to me that they're not confident at all, and they are
Wow,
struggling there, because the culture is changing, is less and less open.
wow.
So it's difficult for them. So and that's another thing. I grew up with this idea that things are going to get better as the time goes by,
Yeah, like we are more
but things are not
connected.
getting better.
One of the reasons why they are not getting better is because like there's just more division consistently. I like to share my experience, the mixed race experience, not just because I want to help mixed race people. Absolutely. If my experience can help you feel more confident as a mixed race person, I want to share it and I want to talk about it, right? But another
Mhm.
reason why I love to share these different cultures I live in is
Mhm.
because I want people to see that it's possible to live in different environments, like in different amongst different races. It's not that much of a big deal, really. And of course, there are
Mhm.
people who will disagree with that and people who don't want you to be part of their
Mhm.
group, right? But there are others who are open and willing. And I feel like we need to emphasize those groups and emphasize those relationships as well as appreciate ourselves. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
I feel like there's
Yeah.
not enough of that. White people, they do their own thing, they don't care. But there's the black group, right? They are busy, just appreciating themselves and all that, which is great. But then they are also
Mhm.
quite busy othering, which is probably not as necessary. But then
Mhm.
I can see mixed race groups as well othering white and black groups. And to me, that's just crazy because no, totally, I can see, especially in America, though, maybe not in Europe as much, but in America.
Oh yeah, yeah. America's a different ballgame.
But America is another thing. But then you have the internet. When you look on the internet, the content largely the mixed race content comes from America. So then you have a lot of battling between the races, and I'm like, what is this? It's so unnecessary. We should be coming
Hmm.
together, not just I don't like it. I wish I would
Well,
love to see that change.
well, that's why I focus on Europe. And if you don't have your own story, what will you do? Naturally, you will reach for all these other narratives which are not yours, and sometimes you can adopt things which are not particularly helpful for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I noticed that some mixed people in Europe adopted like quite a hostile rhetoric from America towards white people.
Yeah.
And and to bring them all here, it's not going to help you. I do look at like what's going on there, but it's their story. Although some of it, I have to say, there are some like theories like colorism, which also impact us because they spread worldwide. And I do have my opinions on that one, but that's
Another
yet another huge
conversation.
conversation. So
Yeah.
yeah. So, but I, as a creator, I knew my audience, and I always have the same one, and I want to serve them.
I love to share my own personal experience for the most part.
Mhm.
Like that's what I'm an expert in, right?
Yeah.
What about you?
So I like to focus mostly on other people's experiences because I like to like seek stories that are similar to mine.
Okay.
And so I give them some talking points. I also like to explore historical narratives. Yeah, so I focus more only on the outside, and that kind of helps me. And really love to have conversations like this because that's a very affirming experience. And I think, yeah, affirming is the keyword
Yeah,
for me.
no,
It's
I keep
always been.
smiling when I'm talking to you because it's like a lot of most of your experiences are my experiences too.
See, yeah, this is exactly what it does, and like it helps you become confident. I've met some people, who've been through a lot and who are not confident, and I
Right.
can see like the impact of like when you are lacking these experiences that it can literally it can break people.
I really want to read this chapter because it fits so well. So, on the same note, how our creative identities were shaped by living our predominantly Caucasian motherlands, traveling Europe, living in London, and traveling to Africa in my case. So, I am writing a memoir. It's an Afropean biracial memoir in a way. I
Yay!
share my experience. Yes, I share a lot of my experiences in it. And one of the chapters fits into this conversation very, very well, I think. So I just want to read it. Um, it is titled Finding My Voice and Balancing Cultures. I've got it here. It's not the last draft, but I think I'll just read it
Okay, go
because
ahead.
it answers the question that we are trying to answer. My journey of self-discovery and cultural exploration began when I ventured to London to stay with my Nigerian family. It was a leap into the unknown, a plunge into a world vastly different from my native Poland. I soon realized that the contrasts between Nigerian and Polish cultures were profound, and my experiences with expressive Nigerians, particularly my biracial German cousin Ayo, played a pivotal role in shaping my love for the written word. Nigerians, in their essence, are loud, proud, expressive, and unapologetic. My London based cousins, mostly British Nigerians, carried some of those traits. Still, one of my cousin's husband, Uncle Shegun, and his Nigerian family, born and bred Nigerians who migrated to England, embodied the quintessential Nigerian spirit. In stark contrast, Polish people are reserved, often taking their time to open up, even though they too are proud of their national identity. In my eyes, both cultures are marked by an unwavering sense of stubbornness and uncompromising nature. I'm not sure if that's how you see Nigerians and Polish people. Would you agree with
Well, both. Yeah, with Polish, definitely. Nigerians, I mean, Nigerians are very passionate, I've noticed.
passionate is the word as well? I should
Yeah.
definitely add that. I'm going to make a note.
Okay.
Passionate Nigerians. About my cousin Ayo, she's a singer songwriter with a soulful voice that could stir the most profound emotions. She was born in Germany, however, our Nigerian fathers had always been close as cousins. And somehow Ayo and I also bonded instantly when we met for the first time in our early 20s in England. But our shared adventures transcended borders, often taking us to France, Spain, Germany, Portugal, and even back to my homeland, Poland, when Ayo's debut album, released in 2006, achieved platinum status. We spent much time together around that time and during her early days when she was still playing small gigs in London, Paris, and other places. During those times, Brixton was often our playground. It was a vibrant hub of African and Caribbean culture, far from the gentrification it has undergone since then. one day, when we were in London, she invited me to join her in Paris, where she lived at the time. Paris was just around the corner, and we were both in our 20s, unburdened by too many grown up responsibilities. So I quickly agreed. However, when I requested a 1 week holiday from my boss, he refused. So, without thinking twice, I quit my job and we were on the Eurostar to Paris the very next day, sharing this to create the background for explaining why Ayo impacted my love for the written word. At the time, my relationship with writing was fraught with self consciousness. I had dabbled in school poetry recitals and even attempted to write a book in Polish back in the day. However, my writing endeavors were often plagued by self doubt, but more so by lack of inspiration. In Paris, Ayo and I shared a tiny studio flat with another housemate, putting us in constant proximity to each other. I vividly remember very intimate moments of watching her crafting her lyrics and composing songs. Once I noticed a few typos in her writing, and my instinct was to correct them, even back then, even though my cousin had just begun the creation process. Aya's response surprised me. She acknowledged the errors, but continued to search for the right words and melodies, undeterred by minor imperfections. It dawned on me that writing was not merely a means to pass exams or earn good grades. Suddenly, I discovered that the written word could also serve as a powerful tool for self expression and emotional healing. Do you find that Slovakia, just like Poland, is very much like task oriented? Do
Past
you know what I
oriented.
mean? Like, for instance, writing is to pass exams, but like artistic exploration is not really
Hmm.
so much in the culture. Do you find that
I
as well,
mean,
or is it just my experience back from Poland?
good question. Yeah, there's a bit of, I think, it's more like functional,
More
really.
functional, that's the word.
Yeah.
It's the same in Poland. And I'm realizing that it's not just, that function that matters, right? Your soul is also
Absolutely.
important. You can actually use your words, you can actually use the written word to find healing. And to me, it was just like, I don't know, just like a light bulb just goes off. Like when I was watching her, writing her lyrics, it was a big thing for me, you know?
Mm. Yeah, 'cause suddenly you were a creator, and like
Yeah.
when you are in our educational system, you're like a note taker, or you have to
Right.
reproduce what you learned.
And you recreate all the time, right? You don't create. You're not
Yes,
allowed to create as much. You are supposed to recreate and you're supposed to learn. That's the educational system altogether. But I guess like in our countries, like Slovakia, Poland, even more, you are taught
I
you are
think
taught
so.
to. Mhm.
Yeah,
So I
to
discovered this
record things.
artistic allowance to express yourself all of a sudden with words. What? Can you actually do that? That's what it was for me,
Yeah, nobody
So
will mark you down for it, anything.
no,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so let me continue reading. So Ayo primarily wrote in English, the language in which she sang and communicated fluently, though she also spoke German and French. It struck me that English as a language was forgiving and inviting. If I were to personify my languages, Polish and English, as love interests, Polish would be that high maintenance partner, scheduling every outing meticulously and clinging to past mistakes even after they'd been rectified. In contrast, English would be the spontaneous, easygoing companion, allowing room for editing mistakes and gracefully forgetting them once they've been corrected. Do you find that English compared to your language, Slovakian, is like that? Imagine that English and Slovakian are your love interests, right? They are people, they are persons, right? So, what would be the qualities of English and then what would be the qualities of Slovakian in your mind?
Okay. So I'd say that English is definitely like this shapeshifter, and
Right.
Slovak is more like
I love
more
it.
conservative uh lady.
It's
But right now in Slovakia, they had a child because there is many Slovak people, younger Slovak people, incorporate English words into their speech, and
right.
they turn them into Slovak sounding words. So
I
there are
love
many of these hybrids, and it sounds really weird to someone like me, but they really like it, and it's fashionable.
And I bet that. writers, authors, like Slovak authors, writers, they must hate it. You know, the ones who had been
I think they
educated,
do.
they must hate it, because I know in Poland there are many conversations. And just like you said, you know, like I laugh sometimes that now there's this new breed, Ponglish, you know, almost like, you know, like you've
Oh,
got
you have
Spanglish.
English. All right.
Definitely there are many influences right now happening, like from English, of course, because we are so interconnected right now through the internet and stuff. But to me, then at that time, you know, Polish was just this high maintenance partner, while English was just so easygoing, like, you know, hey, just let's do something together, let's write a poem, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah. These are two different cultures. They're different sensibilities.
Exactly, that's right, that's true.
So this is something that
And they are
I need
reflected
to
in the
watch
language.
out for. Yeah, this is I think something that I have to watch out for as an Eastern European,
Yeah,
because sometimes the way I would express myself in Eastern Europe, if I did this in UK, people would be just like, "Oh my God," it would be too harsh for them, it would be too much. So
yeah, that's
I
like
am,
cultural
yeah,
sensitivity, you know, it's like it's the
yeah,
same like when you move between different races, right? There are some things that you can say in the Black community, or maybe more the other way around, in the white community, that you can't say when you are with the Black community. And like for me, being part of both, I kind of know what those things are, so I'm
yeah.
more sensitive to both, right? But then sometimes I'm in the midst of, let's say, like the Black people or the white people, and they say stuff, and I'm just like, whoa, hey, can't you see I'm here? Like, you know, have you forgotten that
Yes.
you probably should not say this in front of me, or ever, like in front of anyone, really, you know?
Yeah, I do
So
think that
those
this
sense.
is like the dilemma. They think that, okay, you are at least, partially white, partially black.
So, my time with Ayo in London, Paris, and beyond opened my eyes to the world of self expression through writing. Through her journey as a songwriter, I learned that the written word could be a powerful means of documenting and capturing the essence of life, with all its imperfections, and transforming it into art. Ayo's creativity and her ability to embrace imperfections illuminated the path to my self discovery as a writer. Exploring my creative identity took another significant turn as I yearned to connect with my Afro side. My initial encounter with London at 18 left an indelible mark on me, fully awakening my sense of being Afropean. In London, I delved headfirst into exploring my Afro side, gravitating towards mixed race individuals and embracing Black Europeans and Africans alike. It was an unconscious effort to balance my previous experiences, predominantly within the realm of Caucasian only Pian culture. Ultimately, my marriage to a Ghanaian and frequent visits to Ghana in West Africa over the past 2 years solidified this intricate dance of balancing cultures. While Nigeria remains on my travel bucket list, I have had significant exposure to Nigerians in the vibrant multicultural London and in the all African Accra. This exposure has allowed me to weave the threads of my Afro and PN identities into a more complete tapestry. Okay, I'm done. So I was quick.
Nice. Yeah.
We
No,
needed
I
quick.
think definitely these stories are needed. This is what I'm talking about. This is the Afro-European perspective, and
Yeah,
you can't get the same thing from somebody who's African American, who
mixed
is
race. Mhm.
a mixed blacks, American person. They will just
Yeah,
have a completely different perspective, and
yeah.
that's perfectly fine. But yeah, this is something that speaks to me as well. That's why I hope that more people will do the same thing as you and
Oh, I
create
hope
these
so
stories.
too. I really hope so too, because that's the answer as well, isn't it? You know, to the lack of these stories out there. And now, you know, we can write memoirs. Yeah, we can do that. You don't even have to be a writer to write a memoir. You just have to have a story, and then you can outsource the publishing aspect of it. Even the writing, even there's such a service as ghostwriting. You can outsource
Yeah.
even that.
Hmm.
So people who have amazing stories, and want to express themselves in those ways can. these days. You know, there are so many ways to do so,
Yeah.
like the way you are doing it. If somebody just wants to leave a legacy, express themselves as that mixed race person who has gone through things, they can do that too in the form of a book or in other forms. But you know, because of this conversation, I'm leaning towards the book form.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's that really. So we'll close it for now, but I think we'll be back for sure. I think it was great. Thank you so much.
Likewise. Thank you for having me.
Bye.